sit over there.
Tom Colley for Through the Ropes Boxing.
Do a little video or something.
With former cruiserweight champion and trainer BJ Flores. BJ, thanks for coming on. Thanks for taking the time to speak to me. How's things? Looks a lot nicer where you are than it is in England over here.
We got a little nice backyard, a little pool, jacuzzi, a little gazebo. My favorite thing to do at night when I'm done getting back from my work is to come back here to my house and relax and chill. And it's going good. Very, very happy with how things have been going so far in 2024, and 2025 is going to be even better.
Fantastic. Wanted to jump straight in, BJ, just off the back of a amazing weekend of boxing. Headline, of course, by Dimitry Bivol, Arthur Beterbiev for the undisputed light heavyweight title. Did you tune in? Did you get a chance to watch that?
To be honest with you, and I'm going to tell you the truth, is I did not get to watch the entire fight. I saw clips of it, but I didn't get to watch the entire fight. But I said at those odds, Bivol was almost like a 2-1 underdog. I'm sorry, Beterbiev was a 2-1 underdog. I said he's too big of a puncher. He's too experienced. I know he's almost 40. I know he's older. I know Bivol's a better boxer, but you got to take, Beterbiev at that money. And I saw a lot of people were, conflicted on the scorecards. But at the end of the day, the judges judge each round individually. And, you got to look at the overall number of winning rounds to each fighter. And that's how you score a fight. And it's not always fair. But, I'll have to watch it back and see what I think. But I think Beterbiev won like 3 or 4 of the last 5 rounds. He swept like some of the other rounds, the late rounds on all the judges' scorecards, and that's kind of what swung the fight in his favor. And maybe he didn't win clear and concise some of the early rounds, but they were closer, and some of the judges gave those rounds to Beterbiev. And then when he wins the 4 in the end, all together conclusively, then that's how the scorecards work out sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, no one's calling it a robbery. Some people are. I don't think it's what you'd call a robbery, but there is conflicting opinions on the scorecards, like you say. I mean, in that situation, Beterbiev was the pressure fighter. Do you prefer the pressure fighter if you were scoring a fight?
No, I prefer a pressure fighter. I do. I feel like at that level, at the professional level, they're both so advanced that it's tough to say. But I like a guy who likes to come forward, likes to make the fight. I appreciate a good boxer as well, but I appreciate a guy who's trying to do damage more than a guy who's trying to survive and not get hit. So there's art in both forms, but I like a guy who's trying to put on a show. And especially in the Misfits scene, the scene that I'm involved in now, there's a lot of credit for coming forward and being aggressive instead of trying just to make it through with limited damage. So I feel like the more aggressive guy should be rewarded as long as he's able to land punches. If he's not, then you got to give credit to the boxer.
I know you didn't get a chance to tune in and watch the fight, but there was another really interesting fight on the card, Fabio Wardley and Frazer Clarke, the 2 heavyweights. I mean, that was expected. They just shared 12 grueling rounds, and Wardley's come in and finished the fight in the first round. Did you see the highlights of that? And did you see the injury that Clarke sustained as well?
No, I didn't see the injury, but Wardley's always impressed me. I thought he was, something special for the last year and a half. I'd see him on some of those cards last year. I think who's he promoted by? Is it by Frank or is it by Matchroom? Who's he promoted by?
Frank Warren, I think.
Yeah. So Warren's just got a bunch of really good heavyweights. He really does. I had Daniel Dubois over Joshua, not because I necessarily thought for sure he was going to win, because at 3-1 odds, it just didn't make sense to have a puncher like Dubois. And, heavyweights are weird. Heavyweights come into their own later in life. He's had a couple losses. He had some experience, had some up and downs, and heavyweights don't mature until their late 20s, early 30s. And, great win for Daniel. Congratulations to him. And then Anthony Joshua, always just the man, the face of boxing, besides Canelo. But over in that UK scene, I mean, it doesn't get much better than Anthony Joshua. I mean, the guy's the poster boy. He's amazing. He's great for the sport. But it's a great fight. And I think Fabio Wardley's got some big things coming. He's a very good boxer. Another good heavyweight I'm looking forward to seeing very soon is Johnny Fisher. He's got a big fight coming up with David Allen, I believe, in the next month or so. But Johnny's a very talented, strong, heavy-handed, the Romford Bull boss. Big fan of his dad and big fan of Johnny. So I'm looking forward to seeing those guys, Fabio, and a couple of the other up-and-coming guys that I've been watching and seeing lately.
Wait, how do you manage those guys at that point? I mean, you're a trainer now. If they were your fighters, you got like Fabio Wardley, Johnny Fisher. They're just sort of sitting below that world title level. How do you manage that? And at what point do you take the plunge and you put them in with the big names, like you say, the Daniel Dubois, the Josh?
No. They're not ready for those guys yet. Maybe talent-wise, they're ready. In their mind, they're ready. But as a good manager, you want to make sure and let them. Here's the thing: like my late manager Lou Mezzarana, who managed many world champions, and many fighters. He said, you know what, BJ, the way it's very important when you're building, when you're growing, and when you're going up, you got to hit all the steps on the way up, because once you're up there, you can't come back down to hit them. So it's important that you touch all the steps on the way up. And Johnny Fisher, he's still working on getting those steps. He's had some early knockouts. He needs to be tested with a good 8-round, a good 10-round fighter before he goes up to the Daniel Dubois. But he's got the incredible upside with that power and that chin. He's just got a massive following. I'm a big Johnny Fisher fan. I see Fabio Wardley as a little more refined boxer, a little sharper. He's very high boxing IQ in there. Excellent jab, has good head movement. He's just everything you'd want in a heavyweight. I mean, I feel like, until we see him tested, I feel like he's just going to blow through these guys. And it's fun to watch. It's fun to see prospects like that. So you got guys like Johnny, like Fabio, and I'm sure there's other people I'm leaving out, but those are my two favorite UK and, probably worldwide heavyweight prospects right now. I feel like they've got the most upside and massive potential.
Yeah, we've got a young man, Moses Atoma, as well. I expect you've heard of him. I think he's just 19 years old, and he's going up alongside them guys. So it's definitely a clear crop of heavyweights coming through with the likes of Fury, Usyk, and Joshua, obviously in their later years now.
Yeah. Some good ones.
Just on the Daniel Dubois Joshua fight, I know you predicted Daniel to win that. If you're managing Anthony Joshua right now, where does he go from here? Would you jump in and take the immediate rematch?
No, absolutely not. I would give him some time to clear his head, do what he wants to do. Give him a good 6 months, unless he's just like pressing for the rematch. But if I'm managing Anthony Joshua, I'm going to say, look, champ, hey, we have accomplished a lot of great things in this sport. I want you to really take a good 60 to 90 days here and clear your head and really get in touch with how you feel. And we're riding with you, whatever you want. We got your back. We're going with you on this. But I want you to take a good, 60 to 90 days. A loss to Daniel Dubois is not the end of the world. We're living the exact same we were before the fight. We're going to live exactly the same after the fight. It's not going to change one single thing. I want you to look within yourself and see if this is what you really want to move forward with your life. And if not, let it go. We can get another fight. We can get somebody else. If you want to keep fighting, no problem. If you don't, you've built a legacy for your family. You built a legacy of your name. Your children are going to know who you are forever. You've done everything you could possibly accomplish in the sport of boxing. And there's so much ahead of you in your life. There's so many great things ahead of you in your life after retirement that, I'm with you. Either way, whatever you want to do, I got your back. And I think the main thing a fighter needs to feel after a loss like that is support. He'd be reminded sometimes of his credentials and what he's done. And AJ's done incredible things and sold out stadiums. And I mean, I just don't even know where to start. The guy's incredible. So it's his choice at the end of the day, but he just needs support from his team. And Ben Davison and those guys have done a hell of a job with him.
Before we move on to the Misfits and some of your crop of fighters, one last thing I wanted to ask you. There's been a little bit of talk. It's a bit of a wild card of Lawrence Aoli and Deontay Wilder. We know Wilder's been off the back of a couple of defeats. I don't know if you've seen any of that, but do you think that Wilder should fight on? And do you think taking a step down to this bridgerweight division where Aoli's champion, is that a fight?
Well, Aoli, Deontay Wilder, that's talk.
I've seen a couple of things on boxing pages talk of that. Yeah.
With all due respect to Aoli, I mean, if I'm Wilder's team, I'm like, it simply doesn't. He doesn't bring enough to the table. Wilder's been fighting Tyson Fury. Wilder's been fighting, 3 epic matches with Tyson Fury and heavyweight championship fights. And at this point in Wilder's career, I feel like he's still got massive power. He can do whatever he wants. But with that being said, he doesn't need boxing like he used to need it. He's created a legacy for himself, for his family. And I would let Aoli go and fight Kevin Lorena or fight someone like that. Those kind of guys who is also very tough and very game. But Deontay Wilder's too big of a name for Aoli, in my opinion.
Just moving on, BJ. You've made the transition. Of course, you're a cruiserweight champion yourself. You made the transition now into being a coach. Now over to the Misfits scene. So slightly different, but you've got a good crop of fighters under your stable. What's going on? You've got Tristan Ham, Josh Bruckner, as well, and a young man, Jordan Guinness, I believe. Yeah.
Jordan's 6-0, local welterweight with 4 knockouts. He's fighting November 2nd at Celebrity Theater. Josh Bruckner just had a great second-round knockout over FaZe Temper. He's scheduled to face Minicon next in the Cruiserweight 8-man tournament. Tristan Ham lost a close decision to Ashley Raksu, who's, arguably the best 175-pounder below Anthony Taylor. And everybody ringside had Tristan winning the fight, and the rematch will come quick. But he had a good performance. He's only had 3 fights. He's only been boxing 10 months. Ashley's been boxing 4 or 5 years, and Ashley's really good. Like that gets swept under the rug. Tristan won the fight, Ashley won the fight, but Ashley's probably the top guy behind AT. And Tristan went out there and backed him up the whole fight and was trying to do damage. And obviously still got a lot of work to do, but he's got a lot of potential. So looking forward to, seeing those guys. I'm also working with DK Money, Dakota Miller. He's going to have a fight coming up sometime next year. Ian Stromedy, Kyle Godfrey, another kid, a Canadian kid who's living down here in Arizona, and he's getting better very, very quickly. So real proud of these guys.
BJ, with this scene now where your influencers coming in and the Misfits and cool former fighters as well, do you ever get the itch yourself to get back in there and get the gloves on, or are those days gone?
No, not at all. Yeah, my fighting days are over. I'm very content and happy to build, create, motivate, help other people and help build their paths. Young men need direction, and they need an example, and they need a routine. And I like putting them through those steps and using my life experience to help make sure they're prepared for these fights and getting them the right opportunities on the contracts and making sure they make the top amount of money and making sure they're taken care of on the business side as well. I've had the opportunity to be through a lot of those negotiations, and I like being able to pass that knowledge on better than being in the ring. I feel like I can accomplish a lot more outside the ring than I can inside the ring.
That's fantastic. Now, we all know as well, of course, you trained Jake Paul. I think
yes.
Sort of all started with the likes of Jake Paul and KSI, this Misfits thing. You were there with Jake Paul from the start. Now we know he's, it's a monumental fight. You Mike Tyson coming up. So it'd be wrong to have you on here and not ask you. First of all, is that going to be a real fight, BJ? Do you think?
Yeah. I'm not sure. I think I saw it on BoxRec though. I'm not sure what the parameters are, if it's 3-minute rounds or 2-minute rounds, or if the gloves are going to be 10 ounces. I'm not sure. I can't speak on that exactly, but I think Netflix got behind it. Mike is a legend and an icon. Obviously, he's not a normal 57-year-old guy. He's a very, very healthy man. And, Jake wanted to take the opportunity. Mike and Jake have been good friends for a long time. And I think it's an opportunity for Jake to tick that off the box. And he fought Mike Tyson in a massive show on Netflix. And, I've talked to Jake several times, and he's really excited. He's really up for this. So I hope Mike is as well. I think it's going to be a great event. I don't know how great the fight will be. I'm not sure, but I think the event itself will be great.
Yeah.
And the undercard is going to be packed. You got Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano on the undercard. You got Wynderson Nunez against the Indian kid, Goyrod, or whatever his name is, and a couple other good undercard fights that are pretty exciting. I think it's going to be a good show.
Absolutely. Do you think that, if you had to pick a winner, how do you see the fight unfolding? It's so difficult to say, I think, from where I sit as a boxing fan, because Mike Tyson is 57 now, but of course he is an all-time great.
Yeah.
Can Jake win this fight? How do you see it unfolding from your perspective?
Yeah, Jake can definitely win this fight. Father Time is undefeated, and it doesn't matter how great Mike was or how good he still is. He's got a full heavy task in front of his hands. I think Mike better catch Jake in the first round or two, and just like that, if he catches him in the first round or two, he can do damage and end the fight. But if it goes past 2 or 3 rounds, I don't see Mike's going to have a tough time, except for in small spurts. He's going to have to fight in small bursts after that. He's not going to be able to keep Jake's pace. I've been seeing videos of Jake in sparring, who he's working with, what he's doing, his punch output, his punch selection, and he's very, very busy and he's very active. And, Mike's going to have to time him. He's not going to be able to punch with Jake and stay with him. So he's going to have to time him and fight in spurts after the first round or two. Otherwise, he's not going to make it.
Can I push you for a winner on that fight, BJ?
Yeah, I got Jake winning the fight. As much as it pains me, not because it's Jake, just because Mike is such a legend and we all love Mike so much. It's just, but I think Jake's going to win the fight. I think it'll be competitive. If it goes all 8 rounds, I'll be a little surprised, but you never know. Like, it depends how Mike shows up. Mike's been kind of quiet. I haven't heard a lot from him. That could mean either he's working extremely hard and not saying anything, or maybe he's not. I don't know. I feel like Mike takes the sport too serious not to be working hard every day. I feel like he's working. So I don't know how to feel about him being so quiet. Sometimes the loudest dogs on the yard aren't the meanest. So, with Mike, just because he's not talking a lot doesn't mean that he's not working. So we'll see what happens.
Where can Jake Paul go after this fight? Do you think he could make a genuine push? I think he fights at cruiserweight, it's your old division, into conventional boxing? Do you think he could make a serious push in that?
Yeah, I think within 18 to 24 months, I think Jake, and you got to remember too, I haven't been with Jake in about 18 months myself. So 18 months ago, Jake was sparring, Chad Dawson, and Jake was sparring, doing work with Jean Pascal and doing work with other, Richard Rivera, who's a 175-pound light heavyweight who went life and death with, what's his name? I can't remember the kid's name, but the 168-pound fighter. He moved up to 175, and Richard Rivera went life and death with the kid who trains out of Vegas. I can't remember his name. He's a good fighter, former world champion. Jake's been working with those kind of guys, and when you spar with those kind of guys and you're around them, you learn a lot, you absorb a lot, and Jake's a sponge. So he was getting very sharp at that time, even after the Tommy Fury fight. He was before the Tommy Fury fight, he was getting sharp. He was sparring with Olympian Dante Benjamin, a couple other really, really tough kids. And when you get Jake in there with guys like that over time, he starts picking it up, and he really does. He's performing well. So in the last 18 months, I imagine he's gotten a lot better. And then in the next 18 months, the sky's the limit. I think there's guys that he can fight. I don't know. He can't fight like the Jai Apatoi's now. He can't fight guys like that yet. Obviously, he's got a ways to go. But there's a level of cruiserweights beneath those kind of guys like Jai who he can fight. And I'll be looking forward to seeing that in the next 18 months.
One last thing I wanted to ask you about, BJ, is this week it looks like it's been kicking off a little bit with Conor McGregor and KSI. I expect you've seen that. Is that a fight that realistically could be made? Are we going to see Conor McGregor fight again, do you think?
I don't know, man. I'm a big Conor McGregor fan. Like I said, I mean, that'll be a tough fight for KSI, especially KSI hasn't fought. One thing you got to remember is, I think KSI is 31 or 32. He's had a year layoff, and by the time he fights again, it'll probably be a year and a half layoff himself. And KSI was still learning himself. Like, it's not like he was at a point in his boxing career where he can take like a year and a half off and come back the same. Like, he's still progressing and learning too. Like he's still got, a few more steps to hit before he can, be able to afford to take time off like that and fight someone like Conor McGregor. I mean, that's a big step up. Tommy's a better boxer than Conor, but Conor brings some innate experience in there that KSI's never seen before. Not to say he can't perform in that fight, but I would like to see KSI a lot more active instead of coming off the shelf for a year and a half before going into a fight like that, if it happens.
I know I said that was a final question, but I did just also want to ask you, BJ, massive rematch coming up for the undisputed heavyweight title, Tyson Fury, Oleksandr Usyk. Can Tyson Fury win his titles back, or is Usyk just a maverick that can't be beaten, the jigsaw that can't be put together?
I had Usyk winning the first fight. I was hoping the odds would be a little different. All due respect to Tyson Fury, I just feel like Usyk is like that ultimate fighter that doesn't matter what style he fights. Two-time Olympic gold medalist. I called his fight in the 2012 Olympics. Those were in London. And then, ever since he turned pro, he's just been a special guy at cruiserweight. He won 2 gold medals. He won the undisputed cruiserweight title. And then he's pretty much the undisputed heavyweight champion as well now. So it's crazy how he's able to go in there and get the better of Joshua 2 times. Now he's going to beat maybe potentially the best heavyweight over the last 10 years, Tyson Fury. Now he's going to beat him the second time after he already beat him the first time. I mean, Usyk is just an incredible boxer. I love him, how he's just, how he's such a charismatic character. I wish he could speak English a little better so we can understand his personality. Yeah. But to my understanding, in Ukraine, he's a very sharp, smart guy. And he's just such a great fighter. He's my number 1 pound-for-pound fighter, Usyk. And my number 2 pound-for-pound fighter is Fury. And my number 3 is Inoue. Those are in that order. Those guys are just incredible fighters. And every weight they go to, they're just such savage. And Tyson's controlled the heavyweight division for so long. It's been a lot of fun to watch. I got Usyk. Long answer, but I got Usyk.
That's a great breakdown, though, BJ. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on. I could talk to you all day about boxing, but I don't want to take up all of your day. But
no problem, brother.
BJ,
I appreciate it. Appreciate the love, and let me know how when it comes out. And we got some big stuff coming up, maybe in December for Josh and for Tristan. Jordan Guinness, November 2nd, and we'll be making some noise next year in the Misfits scene with those guys. And thanks for the time.
Thank you very much, BJ.
Cool. Appreciate it.